thank you so much for being here. So today we've got a really special guest here. Have John and Stasi Eldredge with Ransomed Heart, Captivating. So excited to have them here this morning, and just want to have them share their hearts where they see God taking the mission of Ransomed Heart and the message of Captivating. And so I just want to open it up to you guys. And so, John, share a little bit. Where do you see God leading you? Some vision, mission, and what's coming down the pike?
Yeah. Thanks, Trey. We are honored to do it, honored to chat about that. But first, a quick story. So, Stace and I came to Christ back in the Jesus movement in the 70s. And we didn't know it at the time, but that was kind of actually the last great revival that swept across Europe and the U.S. You had the charismatic renewal going on in the Catholic Church. You had the Jesus movement taking place kind of in the hippies on the streets. And we came to Christ there. I mean, it was Keith Green and second chapter of Acts and all that thing going on. We think God's about to do something like that again. We think we live in a very exciting time. We just had a number of sense of that, a number of dreams, some words from God that we sense a new kind of revival is coming, but this time, here's what's beautiful about this. It's a revival based on the heart, and it's a revival based on restoration. Because the core of what we do and the core of what God is after is healing hearts, healing lives, healing people, right? Restoration. And we've just seen, something's up, something exciting is going on that this message is one of the vehicles of it, and it is going all over the world. God is going after people's hearts, and so we're super stoked about that. We're doing more international now. We just got back from a really big event in the UK. More to come. Going to Australia at the end of 2018 for men. Stacey was in Australia at the end of last year. Internationally, this thing is really exploding, and it's just thrilling to watch God going after people's hearts all over the world. And I think a revival actually has already begun. I think it's taking place, particularly as people turn from the heart back to Jesus, and they start falling in love with God again, and He's able to access the deep places of their hearts and restore us as human beings. So I think we're in a revival based on restoration, and I think it's going to be huge.
So good.
It is so good. And I mean, Jesus hasn't changed, right? You know, his favorite verse was Isaiah 61, I've come to heal the brokenhearted and set the captives free. And that's what he has always been about, and that's what he is still about. And so sometimes I think that we can sound a little crazy in these particular days where we go, oh man, he is on the move like crazy. But we are seeing it, and we are hearing stories all over the world. Mm-hmm. And so it's exciting times to be living in. So our encouragement is really to then tend to the heart. Don't ignore it, to be inviting Jesus into these places where we need him. We're never done, right? There's always more with him. But to partner with God in our own journey of healing, and then to partner with him into bringing it to others, wow, there's really nothing more exciting than that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So let me ask you guys a question on that. Mm-hmm. How do people that are hearing this, guys, and maybe they've been to boot camp, they've been to Captivating, they begin, they're kind of understanding this message. How do they get involved kind of in this line with God? Because when God starts moving, we want to try to align our hearts with him,
yes.
And be on board with that.
Yeah.
How do you see that working, with believers and with the church? How do we get in line with what God's doing here?
What are my orders? You ask him that, it's going to open up some phenomenal conversation. Jesus, what are my orders? We're living an extraordinary moment in human history. We think that we're very near the climax of this part of the story. And so to ask him, Jesus, what do you have for me? What do you want to do? How do we engage with this? Specifically with Ransomed Heart, we made a decision when we began 20 years ago to stay small and give it away. And so that's why you guys have taken off with it. And folks have, in just pockets in Ireland and in Slovakia and in Colombia, South America, and these pockets around, people have said, all right, I want to go after men's hearts. I want to go after women's hearts. And so you can take our stuff and run with it. You can teach this. You can lead guys through, a Wild at Heart group or Gals Who Are Captivating and use the videos. It's actually all free to do that.
Yeah. Right, we have new resources out there called Basic, which is the boot camp, a 4-day event, including the film clips embedded. And we have Captivating Core out there, so for people to run with it. But what I would want to say with people that want to do this, asking Jesus, what are my orders, is don't neglect your own life of the heart. In the pace that we're living in this busyness of life, everyone else can take priority, and we can lose the fiery passion of our first love. So to live a life, to align yourself in such a way that you're able to receive his grace, and to spend time fixing your gaze on him, to nourish your heart. Don't let that go. Loving him first remains the priority, and then that is the fire that fuels everything else.
Wow, that's so good. So guys, what I would say, and ladies, just like John said, ask Jesus, what do you have for me? But then be open and willing to obey that in whatever that calling may be. Because I love something that in the advanced, at the ascent that we do, something that John says, there's always a cost in the calling. And so it always has a cost, but that cost is always worth it to follow Jesus.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys so much for those
Yeah,
words. That's
totally.
fantastic.
It's an exciting hour, I think.
It is.
I think
It
God
is.
is moving.
So good. So guys, pray, ask Jesus, what do you have for me? And then be willing and obedient to follow through. Thank you so much for being here.